Once upon a time, in a hidden world far beyond the reach of human eyes, there existed a magical kingdom known as a place where light never faded and every creature lived in perfect harmony. Among all the fairies who lived there, one name stood above the rest: Elara, the fairy of light. Her wings sparkled like the first rays of sunrise. Her presence brought peace to restless hearts, and her smile was said to heal even the deepest wounds. To everyone around her, Elara was perfection, a symbol of strength, kindness, and endless hope. But beneath that glowing beauty, hidden deep within her soul, lived a truth no one had ever seen. Elara had two faces, one she showed to the world, and one she hid from everyone, even herself. By day, Elara was everything the kingdom believed her to be. She flew across golden skies, spreading light through the forests, calming storms, and helping every fairy who needed her. She never said no, never showed weakness, and never allowed anyone to see even the smallest crack in her perfect image. The entire kingdom admired her, often saying that Elara was born without pain, as if she had never known sadness or fear. But what they didn't understand was that Elara had simply become an expert at hiding it. Long ago, she had learned that showing pain only brought distance, that tears made others uncomfortable, and that strength, even if fake, was always praised. So slowly, over time, she created a second face, a flawless mask made of light that covered everything she truly felt. But when the sun disappeared and the stars filled the sky, everything changed. In the silence of the night, away from the eyes of the kingdom, Elara would leave her palace and fly alone to a quiet place known as the Crystal Lake. There, in the reflection of the still water, she could no longer hide. Her glowing face would begin to fade. Her radiant wings would lose their shine, and the other face, the real one, would appear. It was a face filled with exhaustion, sadness, and unspoken pain. She would sit by the edge of the lake for hours, staring at her reflection, asking the same question every night. Which one of these is truly me? Yet the water never answered, and the silence only made her feel more alone. Years passed like this, with Elara living two completely different lives, one in the light and one in the shadows. No one ever noticed, or perhaps no one ever looked closely enough. That was until the day something unexpected happened. A human boy named Aaron somehow found his way into Lumeria, crossing a boundary that was never meant to be crossed. Lost, confused, and completely out of place, he wandered through the glowing forests until he saw Elara. To him, she looked like something out of a dream, a being too perfect to be real. But unlike the others, Aaron didn't just see her. Lighty noticed the heaviness behind her eyes, the kind of hidden pain that only someone who had felt it could recognize. As days went by, Aaron remained in the kingdom longer than anyone expected, and he began to observe Elara more closely. He saw how she smiled at everyone, yet seemed distant at the same time, how she helped others but never allowed anyone to help her, and how her perfection felt more like a burden than a gift. One night, driven by curiosity and concern, Aaron followed her quietly as she flew toward the Crystal Lake. Hidden behind the trees, he watched as Elara approached the water and stared into it. What he saw next changed everything. The glowing, perfect face she wore began to crack, like fragile glass under pressure, and slowly it disappeared. In its place appeared her true face, vulnerable and broken, with tears streaming down her cheeks as she whispered words she had never said out loud before that. She was tired of pretending, tired of carrying a weight no one could see. Unable to stay hidden any longer, Aaron stepped forward and spoke gently, telling her that she didn't have to pretend anymore. Elara was shocked, not because someone had found her, but because someone had seen her truth. She tried to deny it at first, insisting that he wouldn't understand, that no one ever could. But Aaron simply sat beside her and explained that in the human world, people did the same thing every single day. They hid their pain behind smiles, buried their struggles beneath laughter, and pretended to be strong because they believed that was the only way to be accepted. For the first time in her life, Elara felt something she had never allowed herself to feel before she felt understood. That moment became a turning point. The fear that had kept her silent for so long began to fade, replaced by a quiet courage she didn't know she had. The next day, standing before the entire kingdom, Elara made a choice that would change everything. Instead of wearing her perfect mask, she revealed her true self. Her light flickered, her voice trembled, but she spoke honestly, admitting that she was not perfect, that she had been hiding her pain, and that she was tired of living behind a lie. The kingdom fell into complete silence, as if no one knew how to react. For a brief moment, Elara feared she had made a mistake, that this truth would cost her everything. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of turning away, others began to step forward. One fairy admitted she also felt the need to pretend. Another confessed to hiding her fears. And slowly, the silence broke into honesty. What Elara had feared would isolate her had instead connected everyone. She realized that she was never alone, that every fairy in Lemuria had their own hidden face, their own unspoken struggles. The only difference was that she had found the courage to reveal hers first. From that day onward, Lemuria was no longer a kingdom of perfect illusions. It became a place of real emotions, where sadness was not hidden, where vulnerability was not seen as weakness, and where being authentic was valued more than being flawless. As for Elara, she no longer needed two faces. The light and the darkness within her no longer fought for control, because she had finally accepted both. And in that acceptance, she discovered a new kind of magic, not the kind that shines on the outside, but the kind that heals from within. In the end, Elara's story became a reminder that the strongest souls are not the ones who never break, but the ones who stop pretending they never did.